Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Delivering on the 6 Promises of SD WAN. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. You're welcome to submit questions at any time using the chat window on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll go over all the questions at the end of the webinar. And of course, there will also be a recording of this webcast available within a couple of days. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Ishai Yovel, VP of Marketing at Cato Networks. Ishai has over 25 years of experience in defining and deploying enterprise IT software solutions in the areas of security, storage, business continuity, and mobile computing. Ishai, please get us started.
Thank you, Bonnie, and welcome everyone to our webinar. First, I'd like to share a few thoughts on who we are. The company was founded by Shlomo Kramer and Gur Schatz. They are industry innovators in the areas of security and networking. Shlomo co-founded Checkpoint Software that built the first firewall, and Gur Schatz is an expert in cloud networking, where he founded Incapsula, an anti-DDoS company, now part of Imperva. Since our commercial launch 18 months ago, we signed up hundreds of customers with global locations. You can see some of the logos down there. And we have a robust platform that is being used in production by global enterprises. Before we get into the promises, I want to talk about the reality of our current wide area network. What are the challenges that network managers face today? This is what our customers are telling us. First is rigidity. This includes things like the time it takes to get services into a new location, or the need to submit tickets to the service provider for network and security changes. At an era where speed is essential for business success, our network slows us down. Second is cost. When service providers sell us MPLS everywhere, they force us to use their most expensive product. So we limit bandwidth to control cost. On one hand, we get stable and predictable network. On the other hand, it is constrained and costly to scale. Third is complexity. Using command line interfaces is cumbersome and error-prone. Customers report limited visibility into the network for troubleshooting because there is no good application or portal to see what is going on. Fourth, service providers bundle together products from different vendors. Bundling is great from invoicing and billing perspective, but operationally it forces customers to operate multiple interfaces or pay up for expensive managed services. Fragmentation is growing now that we need to add even more products to support cloud and mobility. Fifth, security. Our networks are enslaved to support security requirements. We either backhaul internet traffic to data centers just to secure it, or create appliance sprawl to secure traffic at the branch. Management of this complexity, the patching, the sizing, the upgrading, creates vulnerabilities that increase risk. Finally, global access. Your regional service provider needs to sign you up with an expensive global provider to support your global needs. In other cases, you simply have to connect these locations on your own because it's operationally difficult or cost prohibitive. This is in a nutshell what we've been hearing. And Bonnie, take us through our first poll question.
No problem. What are your biggest WAN challenges? You can mark all that apply. Global connectivity, change management, branch security, resources, or costs. You can answer now. Okay, we'll give it just a couple more seconds here. All right, thanks everybody. Ishai, you can continue.
So what do we want from our network service providers? We want a simple self-service interface to easily provision new locations and make network changes. We want affordable service that offers the right capacity and service levels to our locations. We want agile traffic management so we can apply policies and let smart software automatically determine how to best direct it to the destination. We want optimization for key applications on-premise and in the cloud for all users, both in the office and on the field. We want security by design everywhere, so we don't have to integrate the network and security pillars ourselves every time we extend the business. And we want all these capabilities globally, where our business expands without being constrained by our provider's footprint. This sounds like a tall order, and it is. So I would like to present you now with a vision for your future WAN. And I would like to go and tackle those challenges, those promises, one by one. First one, global. So what's the challenge of global connectivity? When you think about using the public internet to connect your branches and headquarters, you're basically looking at unpredictable latency and packet loss, which means unpredictable user experience. It's very hard to do business when one day your connectivity works well and the other way it doesn't. So what we did is we built a global cloud network. We put points of presence all over the world. We currently have 35 POPs, North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America. And we have basically optimized the route between these POPs. So instead of connecting locations directly over the public internet, which is unpredictable, customers use our cloud network, which is SLA backed, to optimize connectivity between the locations. This is the first fundamental architectural component of a global SD WAN. So when you think about this global network, which I mentioned is SLA backed, which means that you can actually replace global MPLS with it, the next step is to really connect to that network. And we offer multiple options to connect the different edges that we have in the enterprise to this network. For example, we can use an SD-WAN edge device, the Cato socket, which can connect both your MPLS links as well as your internet links and manage them together. You can augment the MPLS link initially, and then you can replace it because we provide the essential SLAs to make sure that your sensitive traffic is being handled properly. But we have other options. You can use an IPsec device, like a firewall or a router, to build a tunnel from any location to the Cato cloud if you don't need sophisticated edge management capabilities. We provide an agentless integration, which I'll show later, to connect the cloud data center. And we provide Cato clients that connect your mobile users to the same cloud network. So all the edges that are found in your enterprise can be equally connected to the Cato cloud and enjoy the same benefit of the global SLA-backed backbone. Here's a customer example. This customer, a global manufacturer with 36 locations all over the world, had to support an SAP migration from their data center to a hosted environment in Germany. The entire WAN design had to be replaced. So they basically connected all their locations to the Cato cloud, either through an IPsec tunnel from a firewall or using the Cato SD-WAN socket device. And in the same process, they also connected several cloud data centers, SAP being one, AWS is another, and Azure is a third. And now they've basically gotten a global cloud network that is an affordable alternative to an MPLS-based architecture. Okay, so this is a way the flexibility of the global backbone allows customers to optimize access between any location without being constrained with a rigid WAN design. Taking a step further, Edrol is an example of a global technology company that needed to provide optimized access to global users to their AWS and headquarters on the US West Coast. They were previously backhauling all this traffic to a single firewall on the West Coast, which created both performance issues due to latency and packet loss of VPN connections over the internet, as well as an overload of the choke point that had to aggregate all this traffic. By connecting their different resources, the users, the branches, the AWS environment into the Cato cloud, they created an optimized route for every user to get to the relevant applications they need in the data center, in the cloud, and they did not have to basically sign up with a complex hub and spoke design or deploy regional environments to optimize network traffic or sign up expensive MPLS providers. Okay, very seamless in the process. So as you can see, global access doesn't just mean connecting global locations, it also means connecting globally all the resources that we have, the users, the physical locations, and the cloud instances. Next, let's look at affordability. So I will explain now in few kind of give a few attributes that make the Cato network affordable. The first thing is the backbone itself. Traditionally, vendors used MPLS backbones globally to provide global connectivity. This was expensive capacity that came at a very high premium. Cato is using IP transit backbone. IP transit is the platform that underpins the internet itself. IP transit backbones have a lot of access capacity, and it's being sold to providers like Cato with SLA guarantees. So unlike the public internet that has no guarantees, buying capacity from these providers enables us to assure that the traffic is handled on that tier 1 provider with guaranteed packet loss and latency. However, this architecture is much more affordable than an MPLS-based architecture. So that's the first component that makes the Cato service affordable. The next component is the extensive use of software that we have developed versus hardware that you buy from third parties. Our software allows us to evolve the platform faster, and it also helps us to avoid license fees that the traditional telcos have to pay to their providers, such as Cisco and Juniper for routers, firewall vendors for their firewalls and security, etc. So software and the ability to develop those capabilities in-house reduces our overall cost, which we can then pass to customers. And finally, because we offer our service as a cloud service, we take care of managing that shared resource, that platform for all customers, so customers don't have to own so much equipment and spend all the resources needed to maintain it. Again, yet another cost driver. This is what makes our service affordable. Here is an example. Fisher & Company, it's an automotive company. They basically wanted to reduce cost of MPLS and connect their global business. You can see on the left side, they spend roughly $324,000 per year on their MPLS service. In addition, they had to manage a lot of components, a lot of infrastructure, firewalls, routers, WAN optimization devices. And when they looked at Cato, they saw an opportunity to reduce that cost by about 70% and eliminate a lot of the footprint that they were managing. This was a no-brainer for them. And as they want to get more capabilities from us, for example, get better security, more advanced capabilities, it is all available through the cloud platform, so they don't have to deploy additional point solutions. So the platform remains simple as the customer needs evolve. Let's look at security. So what we've done is we've built into the cloud network a full network security stack. It includes a next generation firewall with application control, a secure web gateway that provides URL filtering, advanced threat protection with anti-malware and IPS, full visibility to cloud access by mobile and other users, and network forensics through our analytics system. This security is available in each one of our POPs. So whatever POP you're connected to, your corporate security policy is enforced on all traffic, mobile traffic, branch traffic, cloud traffic, Everything is protected through the same service. The next thing is that it's not, you don't have to do sizing. There is no thing as a big branch firewall, medium branch firewall, small branch firewall. You use our edge connectivity options. You send your traffic to Cato. We handle your capacity. If you have to increase capacity from 40 megabits to 80 megabits, all the security capabilities, including TLS inspection, they all function, and you don't have to worry about any upgrades. We take care of it. And finally, because we move the functionality of these capabilities to the cloud, you can eliminate edge solutions. So customers go and eliminate edge firewalls, UTMs, and other types of security devices. I want to look at now two examples of how the UI reflects the ability to configure security. The first one is the WAN firewall. It basically controls which location can talk to what location. The side benefit of this is that once you connect your edges to the Cato cloud, you can establish full mesh in a click. You can establish policies that create subsets that are relevant to your needs. We have heard of a lot of issues with tunnel limits on edge SD WAN appliances. How many locations can be interconnected? We don't have that challenge because each edge device connects one tunnel to the Cato cloud, and then the cloud itself in software enables the mesh. So very easy to configure, very easy to define rules on which location can talk to what location. In the same way, we can also enforce securities on internet access. You can see here policies that apply to access to social media, to basically blocking access to peer-to-peer networks, and also establishing exceptions. So this firewall, this is a demonstration of internet-based policies, but we can also apply all of our security stack to internal traffic. So our IPS, for example, doesn't look just at what goes out of the organization, but it can also look at traffic goes within the organization, stopping threats such as a ransomware propagation across sites. Here's an example of a customer. This is a regional healthcare customer, UMHS. They had 12 sites. Half of them were using firewalls and a VPN site to site. The other half was using MPLS. So you can see a mixed network in a relatively small organization that blends MPLS and internet, as well as edge firewalls and backhauling of internet traffic. They used Cato to streamline the entire environment. So we basically replaced the firewalls with sockets. We put sockets on the MPLS sites. We connected everything to the Cato cloud. And now security is centralized. All locations have one unified security, and all the mobile users of UMHS can access both the internet and corporate in a secure fashion. To quote our customer at UMHS, we were rolling out one site in every day for like a couple of weeks, and he said it was as easy as pushing the Staples easy button. Next is optimization. What do we do for optimization? So when you look at the traffic between branch and headquarters of the branch to the cloud, the first thing to do is last mile optimizations. We provide a whole set of capabilities using our SD WAN device, multiple transports. You can use dual internet from different providers. We can run them in active-active, do forward error correction. Of course, you can add MPLS to it, and we will do QoS between the internet links and the MPLS. Apply policy-based routing that prioritize your applications based on the type of service they need. And we can, of course, control bandwidth. So certain applications like YouTube or other types of recreational applications do not basically suffocate the branch. But it gets even more interesting when we do middle mile optimization. So beyond the SLA-backed backbone that I mentioned, which means that Cato, unlike edge SD WAN device, can control the middle mile. We can actually control how your traffic flows globally, not just between the edge and the ISP. So we give you SLA-backed latency and packet loss, but we also provide a TCP proxy that allows the system to recover from packet loss much faster. As an example, if a packet was lost on the last mile between the branch and the Cato POP, the POP detects the packet loss and requests retransmission from the branch, or using fake packets, recovers that packet. If you compare it to a typical SD WAN edge deployment, the packet loss will only be detected at the destination, which of course takes a very long time to recover from. The POPs also optimize traffic to the cloud. We choose an optimal egress point, which means that we will run the traffic on our backbone and exit the traffic from the cloud network at the point closest to the destination. For example, an AWS data center, an Azure data center, an Office 365 instance, which means that we shorten the distance between our cloud network and the target. In some cases, we share the same footprint, the same data centers with those cloud providers, so there's literally no last mile to the cloud. This can replace services like Azure Route Express, ExpressRoute, and AWS Direct Connect. And finally, we offer the same last mile optimizations between the POP and the destination, the same optimizations that I discussed initially in the last mile. Again, the same trick here. If there's a packet loss between in the last mile that leads to the destination, the nearest POP can recover that packet loss, and you don't have to retransmit all the way from the source. We call this multi-segment optimization. It's a unique capability that requires a cloud network to be present in order to accelerate traffic between those locations. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. This is a screenshot from a demo that is available on our website, and also as a recorded demo. What you can see here, that using this, we have made a test. We put a user in 3 locations, in Germany, China, and Singapore, and we accessed an Office 365 document in the US. And you can see that using this acceleration that the cloud network provides, we achieved a vast improvement over the default internet connections, where Asia, of course, got the most benefit and Europe got slightly less, but ultimately all of them got a substantial improvement. So we definitely invite you to test us. This is actually a very easy test to establish for you in your production environment between your locations and your Office 365 instance. We definitely invite you to take us up on this offer. Number 5 is agility. And I'm going to show you here how we very easily connect a branch using the Cato socket, and then how we connect the cloud data center using an agentless configuration. So this is an example of where we connect the socket to power. We connect one WAN link to the internet, the other WAN link to MPLS, and then we go into our cloud environment, configure the location in the right place, and it shows up in the live view of our cloud network. You can see it there. So this is basically a setup that takes a few minutes to do. We can configure it even with you before the sockets get into the location, the final destination. Takes very, very short time. Once the sockets are in, the mesh or the kind of the WAN is established. Moving forward, this is how you define the cloud data center. We select the type. This is AWS. In this case, we define the IP range, the password. We take here from information provided by AWS the relevant IP range, and we put it into the definition, and we save it. You can see in the bottom that we even give you a button to test the configuration. It looks good. We were able to connect, and now the AWS data center shows up in the UI. Okay, what's important here, this is a process that takes about 20 minutes to accomplish due to the steps needed in the AWS environment, not in the Cato environment. And here's an example, like two examples that I want to show. One is Pet Lover Center. This is an Asian retailer for pet stores. They have 65 locations in Singapore. We deployed them in 30 days. So basically doing 3-4 sites a day, very, very quick, and the whole environment is up. Pet Lover Center, by the way, goes beyond Singapore. They have an additional 40 locations, which we are deploying now. Again, it's the same solution. Initially, what they wanted is to connect all the Singapore locations into the data center and apply security. We provided that. Now they want to add their franchisees across Asia, the same platform, the same solution, the same capabilities. A little bit more esoteric, a little more exotic is Spotted. They needed to connect 9 AWS data centers globally between US and Europe and Asia, basically in order to enable their users to connect to all of these data centers. Previously, every user had to log in to every AWS instance separately. It's very cumbersome, it's very tiring, it's not very efficient. So we connected all these data centers for them into a single network. They can now enforce policies on who can access what, but there is no need to log in to each AWS individually. You simply use your Cato client on your device or the Cato socket in the branch. You connect to the Cato network, and from there you can get to wherever you need to get, to which machine you need to get, and you don't have to worry about logging into those data centers. The last element is simplicity. And simplicity is really tricky because we talked about some requirements like self-service portal that I've shown you, but really the challenge for simplicity is bundling. If you have point solutions, each one with its own management interface, each one with its own policy engine, of course the expertise needed to operate it, it's going to be complicated almost no matter what. And if you let your service provider manage it for you, they will pass the cost of that complexity to you. So what we did is the platform that I've shown you throughout this presentation collapses multiple domains, multiple product categories into one solution. First, we replace the need for global MPLS, and we provide you with an edge SD WAN that together replaces the current WAN capabilities that you have. Next, with the combination of firewall as a service and basically the traffic routing to cloud-based security, we can replace firewalls on-premise as well as any cloud-based security solutions that you have. Our cloud access control allows you to have visibility and enforce security around access to cloud resources and cloud applications like Office 365 and AWS. And finally, the Cato client replaced VPN and remote access with better user experience, more visibility, and more control. We call this the Cato 6-in-1. And when you converge all these dimensions, all these capabilities into a single platform that is available globally, provide enterprise-grade security, and is being managed with a single pane of glass, you can achieve real simplicity. And we actually have a customer that has done just that. So if you look at Sunridge, it's not a big environment, but they were using 2 MPLS providers in 2 countries. They had SD WAN appliance for MPLS offloading and firewall to secure the internet link for that SD WAN device. They used WAN optimization for MPLS compression. They had very small teams and had to manage all this diversity because they had an issue of bad user experience they were trying to solve. So we came in and offered one platform for the WAN. So we replaced the MPLS that was very costly, the SD-WAN edge device that were unable to use the internet to solve the MPLS problem because routing and packet loss was too severe. We eliminated the firewall, and we also eliminated the WAN optimization device that was optimizing the MPLS link that was gone. And all of it was replaced with Cato. And now the next step for them is to add mobile users and get added benefits. But the point was that they were able to collapse multiple point solutions into a single platform with Cato. So I want to close this and basically take us back through the promises, that we discussed. We wanted simplicity, self-service, zero-touch provisioning. We've seen that. With our portal, you get the visibility that you need for your network. You can configure policies yourself. You can let a managed service provider manage it, but at least you can move fast if you need to. We're agile. We let you specify policies. We automate the traffic routing based on how links are performing. We can use MPLS in conjunction with the internet and Cato, or we can replace it. Cato is affordable. We're using innovation in software, in networking, in internet, in order to put together a platform that is right size, that you can use the capacity that you want, and you don't have to pay through the nose to make it work. We have sophisticated optimizations in the last mile and in the middle mile, which together creates capabilities that you cannot achieve with edge optimization alone. We provide security everywhere. Everywhere we are, the full security stack is available. You specify your policies and they are enforced across the entire business on all users, all locations. This is very easy to do. No worried about sizing. And finally, the global network that we built provide consistent user experience. You know that when you work with Cato, your network will perform in a consistent and predictable way throughout the year without the ups and downs of the internet or the expensive MPLS connectivity. This is it for me today, and I'm handing it over to Bonnie to take us through a couple of poll questions, and then we'll open up the Q&A. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ishai, for a great presentation. Let's start with our next poll question. Would you like a free pilot that can get you on board with SD WAN within 24 hours? You can answer now. All right, we'll give it a couple more seconds here. Okay. And our final poll question, would you be interested in a free estimate of your networking and security cost reduction using Cato? You can answer now. And while you guys are answering, I can see we have a lot of great questions, so let's get started with those. First question, what kind of redundancy do you have in the cloud network?
Thanks, Bonnie. Our cloud network has multiple layers of redundancy. Each endpoint we support dynamically tunnels into any machine at the closest POP. Each POP is composed of multiple machines running our software. In case of a machine failures, tunnels are instantly reestablished into an alternate machine. If a POP fails, the tunnels will connect to a machine at the nearest available POP. The key design element here is that unlike typical networks, there is no one-to-one bind between a customer location and a specific POP. This creates tremendous level of automated resiliency within the network.
Okay, next question. How are you different from Ariaka and VeloCloud?
VeloCloud is an edge-based SD-WAN and does not provide the cloud network. As a result, customers still need to depend on expensive MPLS for their global connectivity needs. In addition, VeloCloud doesn't provide a security stack, so customers need to procure cloud-based security services or deploy appliances for secure direct internet access. Lastly, VeloCloud doesn't provide support for mobile users, which are an essential part of the WAN. As about Ariaka, in regards to Ariaka does provide a solid but very expensive global network. Network security isn't part of the offering, so customers need to address that part separately. And Ariaka's mobile solution optimizes traditional VPN access to the data center, but not to the cloud, unless customer backhauls all traffic to the data center, something that is very bad for performance.
Okay, great. Next question. What do you provide for last mile aggregation if I migrate off MPLS?
Cato works with the global internet service aggregators that offer a single contract and a single invoice for all last mile services needed by the customer. This addresses the complexity of signing up individual internet service providers at every location as part of the MPLS migration. So overall, this is an answer to kind of the single throat to choke that customer had with MPLS.
Okay, great. And it looks like we have just enough time for one last question. And this question is, my local provider offers a bundle of last mile, global network, and hosted firewalls. Why should I take you?
So as we discussed throughout this presentation, legacy service providers are integrating all the different pieces with kind of a duct tape. All the underlying complexity and third-party products makes them slow and cumbersome. Cato is a new kind of service provider. We're faster, nimbler, and control the software that makes up our service. With us, the service is more affordable, it evolves faster, and you have one self-service interface to run your security and networking. We call it the Un-carrier experience. You're welcome to give us a shot and see how simple it is to do business with Cato.
Okay, great. I'd like to thank everyone again for joining us today. And of course, thank you, Ishai. You will all receive an email with a link to view this webinar again within a couple of days. And we look forward to meeting you again at our next webinar. Thanks, everyone.